So I'm back in Savannah, Georgia on Skidaway Island, and I pulled up to my first location and I just saw a decent sized tarpon roll. Not in the pond I thought they would be in, but in a pond across the street, which is not even an eighth of an acre. It's a tiny little pond, probably a 22 to 28 inch tarpon. There's another one rolled. I wouldn't think they'd be in something that small. Let's see if I can spin the camera. Let's see. I don't know. Let me see the camera here for a minute and see if any tarpon roll again. That second one rolled. I'm looking at the bigger pond to my right, which is supposed to be the best tarpon pond. Oh yeah, a tarpon just rolled in that pond too. Yeah, I've got tarpon rolling in both ponds. You'll see some rings. They're not super happy. They're just occasionally rolling. They're not what I call happy rollers, you know, where they're rolling constantly. But I'm gonna rig up and see if I can catch a tarpon or two here. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's one of the little deer. You'll see a little deer right there. They are all over this island, little does. Yeah, we got another tarpon rolling. You'll see the ripples. All right, let me see what we can do. I'm rigging up a 5 weight because these tarpon are real spooky. Usually I'd use a 7, 8, or 9. I'm gonna try a 5 because I'm gonna use my 5 in another pond for small trout and ladyfish. So check out these deer. I think these deer have gotten used to people. We got 2 does there, and across the street we got a 3rd doe. But I don't think those deer are afraid of people at all. As long as you don't make any sudden noises or sounds. She's looking, she's got her ears up. She hears us and she hears the workers behind me. I'm gonna go down here and throw out these tarpon. All right, first baby tarpon on the line. Here we go. There he is. Little baby tarpon, Savannah, Georgia. It's July. See if he'll jump one more time. On my 5 weight, little black and white, Joe Brooks blonde, black and purple. There he goes. These tarpon have to be resident. There's no way this little tarpon is getting out of this pond. There are culverts, but I think they stay here year round. There he is. I had a couple flashes and a couple nips. All right, so we had our first tarpon, little 14-incher on a 5 weight, but now we got a freeloader. We got a pot licker. I did not even see this little gator in here. He coming over to try to get a free meal on that little tarpon. He's probably 2-3 feet long. Little tiny one. There's another tarpon rolling over there. There's one of those deer that are left. But look at this little freeloader. He won't come any closer because I'm too big. I don't see any little tiny ones. I don't think there's a mama around. I didn't even know there was a little gator in this pond. There's some other ponds I've seen them. Some decent sized one too, but not this little bushwhacker. So I'm coming back across the street to the bigger pond. I had one hookup, landed one on the other side. I had a pretty good roll that I missed on the other side on the little pond, and then about 6 or 7 short flashes. This pond is a little bit bigger. The tarpon over here I've seen rolling are a little bit bigger. I'm going ahead and going to my 7 weight and a clouser. I didn't bring that many tarpon flies with me, unfortunately. This isn't the preferred fly I would have for these bigger, little bit bigger tarpon, but we'll give it a try. So I'm not seeing anything rolling at all in this pond. I don't know if we just passed the prime feed. The tide's coming in, so there should be some fresh water moving to these ponds that have culverts out to the marsh. I think I'm gonna go to a couple other ponds where I've hooked redfish and ladyfish. Try something else. It is hot today in Savannah, which you wouldn't think that'd bother the tarpon at all. But I don't see a single tarpon rolling right now after I rigged up my 7 weight and put on a heavier fly. So let's try something different. All right, there's another little pot licker. I'm at a different pond. He just went underwater. Probably about a 4-footer, The other one was about 1.5 feet too. He's about, all right, don't know if you can see him. There he is again. He might be 4 out there. Little pot licker, little bushwhacker out there just floating, looking at me. See if I'm gonna catch something, feed it to him. Well, I have seemed to found the smallest ladyfish on the face of the earth, chasing little black minnows in a pond, or little dark minnows. Catch them on purple and black, that same purple and black fly I caught the tarpon on, and the bigger ladyfish. So I'm down here on the coast of Georgia, back in Brunswick, St. Simons area, at my parents' house. It is rather warm. The tide is going out. Low tide is probably 2:30, which means there's no wind right now with the tide going out in the middle of the day, so it's really hot. Not a whole lot going on in the creek right now. I've seen something breaking on the bank. Could be a stingray, could be a flounder, could be a red. There is a gar working also. I've seen him swirl a couple times and something hit way out in the middle of the creek. We've had a little bit of rain off and on, so I don't know how much video I'm going to get to shoot with the rain. I'm hoping the water is pretty muddy too. It doesn't really look that good. Typical summer. I'm hoping when the tide turns, it brings in that fresh ocean water that clear the water up a little bit better, and I'll be able to catch a couple on the incoming tide. But it's a lot more humid on the coast of Georgia than it is on the coast of Delaware, I'll tell you that. So let me swap flies. I got a 7-weight and an 8-weight intermediate sink line and an intermediate sink tip line, and let's see what we can do. Thought I'd show you what you've seen this on a previous video. You see the tide is pretty far down. I got down here a little bit later than I wanted to because it was raining, and I waited for the rain to clear out. But the tide is down a good ways. You can see on the pylons how far down it is. You can see the oyster beds and the mud bank. Like I said, I wish I'd been down here about an hour earlier, but it was raining an hour earlier, and in the summer with the rain you can get lightning. So I don't like to fish in the lightning with a 9-foot graphite fly rod. So I'm going around. You don't see a whole lot moving in the creek. There's one pelican up the creek sitting there. Don't see a lot of herons feeding. You can see that big sandbar up there, which is a good place for flounder in the summer. So let me swap flies. All right, day 2 at my parents' dock. Didn't do squat yesterday, but broke a fly line. I don't know if you can see up the creek there. There is a Rosetta spoonbill. Let's see. You can see him flapping his wings right now. Guess he's taking a little bit of a bath. Gonna come over to the edge of the dock. Yeah, there he is. There's a Rosetta spoonbill up there. Not feeding. Looks like he's just rinsing off. There's a great white heron over there on the other side of the drum. Yesterday there was hardly any birds down here. So we have a few more birds down here, nothing really going on. Yesterday there was probably a stingray and a redfish working this bank on the lower part of the tide. Maybe a flue flounder. I couldn't reach them though with my fly rod. I guess I'm out of practice. But we'll see what shows up today. So I'm gonna post a video of my trip to Savannah and St. Simons, Brunswick, which is the coast of Georgia, over 4th of July week. My wife and I went down there. We had to dance around a bunch of rain, some thunderstorms, some rainstorms. It was really hot. Did catch a baby tarpon, and I did catch a nice sized ladyfish, but the ladyfish video didn't turn out, so I couldn't post the catching of that fish, but I did successfully video the baby tarpon. I was using a 5-weight. I took a 5 and an 8 and a 7 with me, but I was using my 5-weight at first when I was in Savannah fishing on Skidaway Island, which is a bunch of private ponds, and it worked really well. I threw my 8-weight some. I did break a fly line, which I've never done before. It was an intermediate sink, and I broke it where the intermediate section connects to the floating section. Intermediate sink tip, I should say. So that was a first for me, and that was, $80 down the drain. I did want to show you the fly I was using that I caught the tarpon and the ladyfish on. I didn't show that when I was fishing in the videos or showing the fishing videos. It's a black and purple Joe Brooks Blonde. Let me get something better to hold this with. Let's try this. You see, it's pretty small. Oops, that didn't work out real well, did it? Oh, I see what I can hold it with. Hold on. It's pretty small. You really can't buy these in any fly shops. If you do a search on Joe Brooks Blinds, you'll see some guys who tie them on their own websites. This is like a size 8. Hopefully you can see that. Purple on the bottom, black on top, and it's got a purple-black tinsel wrapped on the belly of the fly instead of silver or gold tinsel. But you know, this little purple and black fly in a size 8 and a size 6, I've caught a number of crappie, panfish, largemouth bass, ladyfish, tarpon, sea trout. I think that's it so far. And I don't know what it is about that purple and black combination color-wise, but it just seems to work. I do know that tarpon, scientifically speaking, tarpon see purple and green, chartreuse green and purple. Those are the most visible colors to their eyes. Just like redfish, they say the most visible colors to redfish are blues and greens, which makes sense because they love blue crabs. Those fish in Savannah, there's a little piece of junk there, were eating some very small black colored minnows, those little tarpon, those little ladyfish, and they were eating some very small black colored minnows, so I'm sure this imitated that. So I did catch a few fish, didn't catch anything at my parents' house, really couldn't reach the fish. I lost a couple flies. There was a tree that has fallen in the marsh that's really in the path of my back cast at my parents', so if I need to reach out with an 80 or 90 foot cast, that I end up hitting the tree. So I lost 2 flies on that tree and I broke a fly line on that tree. So Brunswick was kind of a bust. The first day was really hot and rainy, thunderstorms, not a lot of fish moving. Second day there was more fish moving. If I had taken a spinning rod, I would have caught them. So that's the fly I used. I used my 5 weight, my 8 weight. I rigged up a 7 weight, didn't throw it much. Here is the belly material of this fly. You can see it's kind of a black, purple, sparkly. It's still considered a tinsel, and it says black. It's a medium. It's a holographic tinsel, black UTC, made in USA. And it's a really cool tinsel, and I use this tinsel a lot on purple and black Joe Brooks blinds. So I will add this combination intro outro to the videos that I've edited, and I will post the video, and we'll see you on the next one. If you have any questions, ask me. It was a long trip. It was hot. Caught a few fish, but it was better than nothing. So thanks for watching.